Everyone has dreams and aspirations, whether they are big or small, to be the president or a mailman. Everyone has something that they want to do with their life. Do people who grew up in bad neighborhoods have different dreams or goals than people who grew up in good neighborhoods? I think that someone who has had everything given to them definitely has a different mind frame than someone who has had to work for everything that they ever wanted. For example, Chicago is the murder capital of the United States. It has been named Chiraq because one year the murder rate outnumbered that of Iraq. I think that someone who grew up in Chicago would definitely work 10 times harder than someone who grew up in a rich neighborhood like Beverly Hills and had everything handed to them. But back to the topic of dreams. Would someone who grew up in Chicago have different dreams than someone who grew up in Beverly Hills, or could it possibly be similar? Or just would it differ completely? Well, think of it like this. If you grew up in a really bad neighborhood like Chicago, would where a lot of people die, would you be trying to be the president or the richest person in the world, or would you just be trying to get to a safer neighborhood? And if you grew up in a really good neighborhood like Beverly Hills, where most people are rich and you've had a lot of things given to you, would you be trying to get out of there, or would you be more trying to do bigger and better things for your life? I think that someone who grew up in a really bad neighborhood would definitely have lower dreams. Like their dreams wouldn't be as big because big dreams would seem less unrealistic and more like unrealistic gibberish. But they would definitely be willing to work really hard towards their little goal, such as getting out of the neighborhood into a safer place. And I think that someone who grew up in a rich neighborhood would definitely have bigger dreams, but they might not be willing to work as hard towards them because they're not used to working hard because a lot of things have been given to them. For example, I grew up in a town in New York named Amityville. So Amityville is not it's not poor, like it's not in poverty, but it's not one of the most richest towns in New York. No. It's somewhere in the middle. Pretty it's pretty good, but it's not poor rich. So because of that, I my goals are pretty realistic. Like they're not so small because I know that I probably can do good things with my life, but they're not so big that they seem impossible to me. So I think that along with other things such as fear and support, people choose their goals, like what kind of goals they have because of their neighborhood and their financial stability or their financial instability. People choose their goals and they also choose how hard they're willing to work towards them.